So this is the first loft bed that I built, and it's hard to get a full shot in this small room, but it's a full-size mattress. It's constructed out of mostly 2x6s and 2x4s, and underneath is a desk. This was like the main reason we wanted to build a loft bed, is because she needed a place. My daughter's sick. She needed a place to do her homework and things like that away from everybody else making all the noise. So underneath we constructed a desk. It's just a piece of melamine I got from Home Depot, and I just cut it down to the size I needed and trimmed it out with some birch and routed over the edges and make it nice and smooth, and supported it, and it's working out great. So she has all her little desk supplies underneath there. The other side is just a book. That's another. I built that bookshelf too, but it's not part of the bed. It's an earlier project, but it, with the bed being as high as it is, it allowed us to slide another bookshelf underneath. She has 3 bookshelves because she's kind of a book nerd. So they give us more room in the room, being able to slide that bookshelf underneath there. So that's kind of her little study area underneath the desk, or underneath the bed. And around this side of the bed is the ladder that goes up to the top. And I also put some handrails on there. Those are just like bathroom rails that people use in bathrooms to help like elderly people get up and down in and out of the bathtub, or up and down out of the off and on from the toilet. But those are rated for like 300 pounds a piece, so I mean I can hang on them and they don't move at all, but it just gives her an extra place to hang on to when she's getting up and down out of the bed. Like again, she's 6, so if you have an older kid, they probably don't need that. But yeah, it has a full-size mattress on it, and it has a bucket lift, so you know little kids aren't really able to easily carry things up and down the stairs or up and down the ladder, so she can stick her animals and her books and whatever. She has a little reading light up there too, so she likes to read books at night before she goes to sleep sometimes. And she can't carry them up and down the ladder, so she'll stick them in that bucket and just raise the bucket up with the rope, and that's how she gets her stuff up and down out of her bed, which has worked out really good. And when I first built the bed, I have a 2-year-old son, and my daughter and my son both played with that silly bucket for an hour straight, just raising and lowering animals and blankets and you name it. So they enjoyed that a lot. So that's about it. Things I would do different. I would make the ladder itself wider. I only made it the space between the rails here. This is only a foot wide, so it's good for the kids. It's no problem, but for me and Mommy to climb up and change sheets and stuff, our hips get stuck at the top between the rails, so it just needs to be a little bit wider. What is nice is I notched these out. These aren't just held in with screws, just holding this in. All the weight's being carried by the post, which is good. This thing is rock solid. It doesn't go anywhere. But I would make that wider. Also, again with the notching, the bed's held up with these carriage bolts. I would have liked to, in retrospect, notch this out and allowed this cross piece to fit into a notch here, so that the weight of the bed would be, or people lying in the bed would be carried by this post and not being held by these carriage bolts. I mean, these carriage bolts are more than enough to hold the bed or hold up the post or anybody else that's going to be laying in the bed, but just something I would do differently. I would notch that out and just use one bolt to hold the piece together rather than carry the weight of the bed itself. And I would have painted it first before I put it together. In the haste of me finishing it and my daughter wanting it, as soon as I finished constructing it, she wanted it in her bedroom, and we put it in, and then we decided we should have painted it. So as soon as the weather breaks, we're going to take it down, sand over some edges that I should have sanded better the first time, and paint it. But I have another loft bed, my son's loft bed, that I'll show in another video. It is fully painted, and I changed some of the structural things around with it, so you can take a look at that one as well. But that's it. It's worked out great. It's given her a place to study. It freed up some space in her room, you know, with being able to put another bookshelf underneath there. And it's just, all in all, it's just a lot of fun. It's kind of fun for kids to play around up there and have a special little nest to sleep in. So hopefully that gives maybe somebody some ideas for making their own loft bed.